It's Spoilerin time, folks. In this post-apocalyptic world of streaming, free and ad-supported services are everywhere, allowing you to watch some stuff that you might never have thought you had watched before. Columbo, Friends, and we are watching Miami Vice. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Yeah, man. And Mazel Tov to Castillo, who apparently has a wife again.
Well, or does
Wait,
he?
not Bryce.
And also,
Castillo.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Different Castillo.
Whoops.
Yes, this is Miami Vice Season 5, Episode 3, Heart of Night. Not Heart of the Night. Heart of Night. The guest star that you were looking for is Rosalind Chow. You might know her from MASH. She played Klinger's girl. She was Keiko. Probably most of you think of her as that. Keiko from Star Trek The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. She was the mom in Mulan. There's been a lot of movies and TV shows over the years. So this is between MASH and Star Trek, where she starred as, Castillo's ex-wife, possibly current wife, but maybe not. I don't know. I was kind of confused at a lot of points in this episode, but I sort of loved how confused I was at the open. They didn't do a big like Ecuador thing. Like I'm like, I don't know, we're in some Spanish speaking country, but we have some Asian folks and we don't know where they're from. Turns out they were from Thailand. Find that out. And then we just got into a getaway scene right off the top.
As long as we're pointing out confusing parts, what was confusing to me is accused murderer just going back to the office and wanting to go back to work.
After we get the chase scene, we see Don Johnson for his only scene, which is him just showing up at his desk and everyone going, "Aren't you accused of murder? I'm not sure you're supposed to be here, Sonny."
He's like, "Hey man, I just want to work, even if it's just paperwork." And I'm like, do they allow?
And then Castillo comes in and goes, "Sonny, that's not allowed.
I'll call you in a few days." What? Oh my gosh. I agree. This was a very confusing episode for as simple as the story is. That's what's
It's a very simple story,
it's
right?
so simple and really, really confusing and dumb. Why is Castillo himself getting in the middle of this? Why is there's a
lot of show you the effect before introducing you to the fact, right? Castillo gets involved and you're like, why the hell is he? Oh, that's his ex-wife. I had no idea. And I don't know if we were introduced to that fact in an episode we missed, but yeah, it was not clear that was his ex-wife at all.
In fact, she was recast from the last time his ex-wife was on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So this is the same character, but a different actor.
I believe that is the case, yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Huh.
What were they doing in that hotel lobby? Because I don't
really bad product placement for embassy suites, because they made a big deal of close up on the embassy suite sign and then showed how dangerous it is to be in an embassy suites lobby.
I just didn't understand. Like, oh, we're having the secret meeting in the middle of a hotel lobby. Like, I don't even understand how that's supposed to be good.
That way we'll be in a crowd and they won't attack. Oh, well.
A lot of casual shooting of each other. Like, yeah, that's how it goes. Mm-hmm. I was surprised at how hard they tricked me into believing that the guy
Masek.
Was like genuinely innocent and being screwed over, and then revealed him kind of cartoonishly to be all like, "Yeah, we don't have a son. I just want money now, and I'm willing to literally have my wife raped for it."
Oh my!
That was
stunning.
That was dark and graphic for that time.
Very unnecessary.
Yes, extremely unnecessary. I want to give a hat tip to those of you who have watched Justified, that the poison was in the glass prior to Justified, because they made a kind of a show of him like glazing the glass with poison.
I
Didn't
rather
give us
like
any
that.
explanation of how he got it to the table to get poured. But hey, whatever. It was clever.
Well, and it did bring a little bit of tension of like if they had wanted to swap glasses or something.
Yeah, right.
That would have been a bad scene. But then
they didn't do that. They couldn't wait 10 seconds to let us see them like take a drink and be like, oh yeah, did he do something? Like doing it in the exact middle of him pouring the wine was really annoying to me, to do that flashback of like, here's him doing the
order of events on stuff here was very odd. I liked a lot of the cinematography. I thought it was again, the theme for season 5, really cool shots and cuts and stuff, but the order of events in the plot was a little confusing.
Yeah, I rather liked the glazing of the glass. That had some Breaking Bad vibes that I think was really novel at the time, to show some of the technical specifics instead of just say, I didn't poison the wine, I poisoned the glass, and then that's all you have to say. And
didn't go out of the way. Again, what I liked about the opening was just kind of throwing me in there and not over-explaining. Didn't over-explain that the poison was in the glass. Showed, did not tell. I liked that too.
Yeah.
Also some bad writing. We're in luck. That's an hour from now. Like, what? Like, hey, boss, let me open that box for you. What?
Oh, the box thing. Yeah. What
the box bomb?
Let me open it for you. So it's a bomb, right? Yep.
Yeah, right.
Is what I wrote down in my notes.
That was a very weird thing. It's like, let me be the one to encounter what might be a bad thing.
I'll open the. You don't dirty your hands. I'll open a box. Yeah, that was silly. My next note after that was, I like the way this limp story is shot.
You know what? I said that this episode was maybe written by a 6th grader.
I definitely noticed, I looked at the fan wiki and I'm like, that's just a cheap neighborhood. And sure enough, it's just right there in Coconut Creek or whatever.
This episode none of this felt Miami Vice at all.
Is it because both Crockett and Tubbs weren't in it?
Well, and it didn't even
just Crockett. Tubbs was barely in it, it was a Castillo episode. Yeah.
And it compared to the previous, because we did watch a Castillo episode in the past.
Right.
And
which was good.
Very noir, very like deep into like, oh, I'm Castillo.
Yeah.
And I thought this one just felt weak. Just felt very weak, and like color-wise, action-wise, none of the things that we tend to like from Miami Vice, the glitz and the hard-boiledness of it, like I think that was not here.
Well, and I felt like it had promise in that chase scene at the beginning. I was like, well, those kidnappers sucked, but it was kind of a fun chase and they got away, and I was on the edge of my seat. What's going to happen next? And then what happened next was not that interesting, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, unlike the previous Castillo episode that we watched, where you could tell that there were, roiling currents underneath his calm surface, he just seemed perfectly chill about everything and at peace with everything. And it's like, there's no conflict in this man. He's like, whatever, you're my wife now. That's fine.
Yeah. They blew the tent. They had all this possible tension of like, oh, it's his ex-wife and she's staying with him and the husband is trying to save her. And like the husband's going to be jealous. And Castillo's going to be like, no, we can't go back there. They didn't do any of that. They just went right to her holding his arm and making tea for him in her kimono. And then by the end of the episode going, hey, husband, hey, wife. But then walking away.
Yeah, and
they can't be together. We can't be.
She
together.
seemed awfully healthy for somebody who was raped on national television.
That whole thing is badly told for a bad idea. It's badly told for a bad idea.
It was something they wanted to imply to be risque. Couldn't show because of broadcast television standards, and therefore didn't serve the story in any way that I could see.
Also, shouts out to the highly unconventional sawed-off shotgun that Tubbs was rocking.
Right in his pants pocket.
Standard issue.
That's a common thing. Is a pistol grip sawed-off shotgun.
When he went to the Vice Armory, there it was just, oh, here's our sawed-off shotgun.
Well, and what's funny is the moment one of the things about a sawed-off shotgun is that it has an extraordinary kick, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that kick looks like. It looks like nothing because it just goes kapow and nothing comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll be honest, this had the makings of a really good episode. They had some great actors, they had some interesting cinematography. The plot could have been spruced up into something more interesting. It showed some promise to me at the beginning. But in the end, this is the third episode of season 5, and it just fell flat.
It was also meant to be the first, except for they aired it as the third. It was the first one
shot it first.
Yeah, and then they aired it third because they had to wrap up the other stuff.
Which you would think
and it wouldn't
they
have made any sense to have this first when you didn't have Sonny's amnesia wrapped up. So I get why they moved it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to keep going in order, right?
No, I believe we have decided to continue to just go from guest spot to guest spot. The next one on the lineup would be 507, episode 7, which is the return of Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, who we know from Man in the High Castle, of course, and is a returning character to Miami Vice. That episode is called Asian Cut.
I did have one last thought on this episode. I liked that all of the Vice squad are trained in how to infiltrate a warehouse. They all know the exact right thing, which is to walk about 50 meters forward and then do a very cool pose. Yep. And then to walk forward another 50.
You learned that in Police Academy, Bryce.
Police Academy 2.
Or possibly too. Also, I will say to finish on a positive note for this story, it was nice to see a balanced character story from Miami Vice. I mean, yes, we didn't see Crockett and Tubbs, but we did see a little more. They distributed out some of the parts to the rest of the cast, and they got to see a little more of them. And a fairly modern looking, diverse cast overall across the story, which I thought was interesting for when this was aired as well.
Yeah. They did kind of telegraph. I was like, this is going to be a Castillo episode because in the first 5 seconds they show a sunset and it goes, and I'm like, oh, this is a Castillo episode.
but they got like Castillo. We saw that in the previous episode, Castillo's into Japan, right? He's the samurai, and he had the sword and all. And then he also knows Thai, and he can read Thai script, and his ex-wife is Thai.
I think that might be
maybe it was the 80s.
A statement about how much America knew about Eastern cultures in the 80s.
They weren't worried about the audience being too sophisticated about the differences.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a Japanese man and a Chinese woman playing Thai as well. So,
Miami Vice.
There it is. Miami Vice, season 5, episode 3, Heart of Night, starring Rosalind Chow. As I mentioned, the next Miami Vice watch, if you're watching along with us, will be season 5, episode 7, Asian Cut, starring Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. And if you're like, what about Our Flag Means Death? What about What We Do in the Shadows? We are going to be talking about both of those in After Talk. So patrons, stick around for that. The rest of you, we'll spoil you next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.